So this is our question for today. It is a GS2 2016 question for 12.5 marks, right? And it was given the word limit as 200 words. So let's see. Professor Amartya Sen has advocated important reforms in realms of primary education and primary healthcare. What are your suggestions to improve their status and performance? The two parts will be there for this question. One is what are the reforms suggested by Professor Sen, and the second part are what are my suggestions to improve the status and performance, right? So let's write it down. Okay, how to start it? Let's see. Pandemic has intensified has intensified the hollowing of primary schools and uneven pressurizing the primary healthcare infrastructure, okay, in India. Professor Amartya Sen back in 2015-16 has advocated several important reforms for these sectors, which are as follows, right? So we have given a decent kind of introduction. Look, you have to write something that is decent. You cannot write more than 4 lines to the introduction. It is a 200 word only. Okay, what are so reforms suggested by Professor Sen. Important reforms suggested by Professor Sen. Look, I was not in preparation cycle back then when these reforms were suggested, right? And I don't know these reforms, but still I know one thing, that Professor Sen believed in the principle of subsidiarity. So on basis of that, I'll be writing this thing, right? 2-3 points, because it's just a 200 word question. Okay, reforms suggested in realms of primary education. Okay, what could be the reforms? You just think, since he's a Nobel laureate, so he would have suggested that. Number 1 would be the teaching, okay, the vernacular languages to be used to impart education at primary level, okay. Basic literacy and mathematical skill imparting should be activity based, rather than rote learning. Okay, 2 things we have given. Third, schools should promote moral education in their course curriculum. Okay, reform suggested in primary sector done. And after, and anything else? Okay, primary education it is talking, so 1 to 8, not more than that. Okay. Primary school should be the basic planning point / unit of educational planning in India. Okay, this is one part. Now reforms suggested in realms of primary healthcare. Look, I am already exceeding the word limit. Reforms suggested in realms of primary healthcare. Again, principle of subsidiarity to be basic to healthcare organization and planning. One thing is done. Now second thing can be accessibility, and affordability of medical care be legal right, if not fundamental. Okay, now however, if these reforms were implemented in time, then loss to pandemic would have been minimized. However, in this post-pandemic world, okay, some more reforms are needed. Okay, suggested reforms and way forward. Suggested reforms and way forward. What could be the suggested reforms? Because the second part is asking suggested reforms, you cannot write more than two page or 2.5 page, right? It is a sin to write more. Okay, what could be the suggested reforms? We'll again divide it in field of education, primary education. What could be the, you tell me, what could be the suggested reforms? Number one would be, the first reforms in field of primary education is bringing back children to school by proper digital documentation. Okay, example, पर्याय पाठशाला scheme of West Bengal focuses on this. Okay, integrating midday meal, or not midday meal, पोषण 2.0 अभियान with nearby primary health care unit for routine checkup, making education more financially sound for students by providing cash incentives in Jan Dhan account by DBT to the parents as COVID has impacted their livelihood. Okay, I am sure I will breach the word limit will be breached. This is for sure in field of healthcare. In field of healthcare, right, number 1 is integration of Ayush and allopathic medicine system, at least at primary level. Second would be integration of Ayush is done. Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, okay, should be expanded at block level to block level to increase accessibility. Post offices can become center for what? Health insurance, okay, and Ayushman Bharat Yojana can plan itself can plan to extend itself via keeping post offices as basic unit of planning. It can help the people, the patients, with documentation and what and okay, documentation, etc. I'm not saying that, okay. Hence post office will be center for information generation, information dissemination, and not for primary care, but integration of ASHA and Anganwadi workers 2 or leave this point, this won't come in handy. Okay, 3 points I have given. The present new education policy is on lines of above reforms. Okay. India also needs a new and dedicated health policy, right? According to WHO, health policy properly placed with investment, WHO properly placed has a very high spillover effect on economy, economic development, labor issues, labor availability, and educational outcome for aspiring powers like India. Okay, a robust health and education system, especially at which level? At primary level is need of the hour. A proper convergence and removal of regulatory cholesterol for all schemes. All schemes is required to become Vishwa Guru and medical hub of world. Done. This is the answer. So it took me about 16 minutes to write the answer. It's fine, although a word limit has been breached, which should not have been in actual, but okay. I don't think much word limit. I think 40 words. I have more than 40. I have not written more than 40 words. 2 pages would have been enough. I wrote about 2.5 pages. That's also fine. There is nothing wrong in it. Okay. So this is the answer that I intended to write and I have written. You give me your feedback. What you think? Okay. So with this I am ending this. Okay. Jai Hind.